Okay, this is exercise 6, CST 105, Tanner Wright. In this exercise, we were asked to take a given matrix 2D array and fill it with a string given certain parameters per row, being that whether they were even or odd, we would fill from either left to right or right to left. So this definitely took me for quite a few different tries, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have that much time prepping with a lot of family and friends coming around for Super Bowl. So I apologize, I probably didn't give as much attention to the book in all the areas that I wanted to, but this did start out similar to my other two programs that I just wrote, knowing that I was going to need to write a buffer reader in order to read from the file, as well as the fact that we were going to parse through a string. So I did some research and realized that writing characters to an array list was probably the best way to approach that. So I created a for loop, allowed me to read each line from the file, and then assigned each particular character within that string to character C that I was going to put within an actual array list. So some things that I learned along the way afterwards, having to add in another if-else statement just so that I could parse whether it was a blank spot so that we could add an asterisk in place after achieving the original while loop so that I could just get my messages to print out. I had a lot of issues originally writing if statements instead of while loops and for loops and not getting a full matrix printout originally to the console. From there, we create the matrix and then we begin to place characters. So I went ahead and created my initial I variable. It's an integer. So then from there, I created a for loop. I'm using these loops to go ahead and parse through each indices in the matrix and place that character. So in order to do that, we had to use some logic. So we're gonna go through the rows first, then we're gonna go through the columns. But not only that, I need to know whether or not it's an odd or even column, knowing the logic of whether or not how many rows we were going to have. That made it a little bit easier to break it down into just two, being or that we're gonna check here. Go ahead and place based on our character size, which would pull that particular character from these particular get statements, else place an asterisk. And if it's not an even else, we go ahead and reverse so that we're starting from the highest indices within that matrix column and then adding so that we can reduce in size as this is minusing away from our total count. So that allowed us to do the same thing as we're doing up here, place asterisks, but in essentially the reverse order of indexing. So from there, I needed to print to the console. There's another instance of using for loops to basically parse through the matrix the same way in order to print to the system the way that we wanted to. This creates it and places those characters from the array list into the matrix. That was some of the things that I ran into as far as issues. I originally wasn't reading enough of the string, using the wrong scanner. Then I eventually remembered I really need to use buffer readers to help me get that to be an easier attempt to pull the array list and then assign characters to each indexes of that array list. Okay, from there, I also remembered from the assignment to actually have it print in a column major order. So I just took my already existing for loops for printing to the console and made some modifications and was able to get this shortened and less in-depth print, which allowed us, as you can see here, to get to the console what we were wanting. I've tried this with many different strings, so I know it's not just the one given from the assignment, but given that I felt this would prove that it shows it actually works, I'll go ahead and just run it with I really want to get an A. We'll go ahead and run the program. And as you can see, it has done the same thing with our original string as we wanted it to. So this is the column major printout, and this is the original construct 2D matrix printout within our 4x8 matrix. Thank you.